You said it was supposed to be a feature.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide, okay, we're going to do this week to week?
The first 2 months, we had about 18 minutes of footage.
First 2 months.
First 2 months, we had about 18 minutes of footage. And I was like, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wanted it to be about an hour and 45-minute feature. And also, when I really thought about it, I was like, damn, as much jewels as I have to give, as much as I want to teach, an hour and 45 minutes is not enough real estate to do so.
Right.
So I came to them and I'm like, look, forget the feature. Let's do a web series. And they're like, what's that? Right? So I'm like, you know, episodic television, same thing you see on television, but just on YouTube, on the internet.
Right.
So they're like, okay, so what's going to be our first episode? I said, the 18 minutes we have right now. They said, when are we going to drop it? I said, next week.
Tuesday.
And they're like, but what are we going to do after that? I said, every week we'll have 6 days for me to write, shoot, and edit another episode and put it out. And they're like, yeah, you got to be kidding. And we did that for 7 months.
Yep. Mm. So I add on to that. The one thing about him, that procrastinating, he ain't with it. So jumping out the window, that was the best thing, because we would have sat on that for years to come. Snowy days, we don't want to go outside. Hot days, we don't. But once we dropped it and we saw the feedback,
pressure was on us. We had no choice.
Like, so he'll write the script. We'll get the script that Friday on set, all of us, and then we have to film until Sunday, and then he'll edit everything by Tuesday, drop it, and then redo that again, like he said, for 7 months straight.
7
Blizzards.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We outside.
I mean, the hardest part is out the way. Once you start,
yes,
it started moving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And once you started to see the response, once your views started to get into the 100,000s, like, what was that like?
I'm gonna tell you a story, right? So at the time when we started Money and Violence, I still had one leg in the streets. And I was taking a trip out of town, right? I think this was like episode 5, right? I was taking a trip out of town to go handle some BI, and I stop at a rest stop, and I'm going to the bathroom, and a dude stops me. He's like, "Yo, you the dude." Mind you, I'm dirty, like, homie, I'm who?
Right.
You know? So he's like, "Yo, you the dude from the YouTube show." So I'm like, "Nah, bro, you bugging. I must look like somebody," right? So he's like, "Nah, I know it's you." I'm like, nah, it ain't me. He walk off. You know, I go about my business, I do what I do, and I come back and I sit my partner down. And I'm like, "We gotta stop." And he's like, "We gotta stop." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Bro, my entire life I've been looking for a way out." You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm at the fork in the road. And if I don't pick one path, it's gonna fuck up both of them. So and he's like, "But what are we gonna do for bread?" I said, "Whatever we got stashed, we're gonna live off of that. We're gonna figure it out." And he's like, "Yo, bro, you're bugging." And I'm like, "Nah, my nigga." And the reason being is because, like, even when I was doing what I was doing in the streets, like, I've lived long enough, bro, to know that shit don't end well. Right. And I've always felt that the more money I made, the more I felt that I was closer to the end coming.
Right.
And I just wanted a way out. I just wanted a way out. And it's like, you know, and he asked me, "Bro, what are we gonna do for paper?" I said, "My nigga, we roll the dice every fucking day. Why can't we roll the dice with this?"
Yep.
You know, and we decided, you know, and he always says this, he's like, "Nigga, I respect you so much because I know what you walked away from." To this day, what I made in the streets, I've never made nothing close to in film. You understand? But it's so crazy because later on, like, my daughter's mother died. And when my daughter was 13, like, she had to come live with me. And I was so happy that years ago I made that decision. And it's simply because, like even when my daughter came to live with me, the only thing that kept standing out to me was I'm all this little girl has. I cannot risk my freedom. I cannot risk my life. You understand? And I'm just glad that I'm in a position. Now I've placed myself in a position to be fed off of something legit and no longer to have to do that.
Right.
You know?
Someplace that guy is going to be watching this and you're going to be like, "I knew it was that nigga."
Oh, yeah.
I knew
that's
happening.
That's happening. That's happening. That's happening, bro.
What was it like for the rest of y'all? Like, when people started to stop you in the streets and you realized, like, you had something real?
It was like episode like 7. by that time, first episode, back then Instagram was only like 15 seconds you could post.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like a little skit that somebody did. I forgot his name then. But he did like
Jay
a
Obama.
Jay Obama. He did a meme.
Shout out to Jay Obama,
Oh
man.
shit, Jay Obama.
I gotta give him
Jay Obama.
I gotta give him his
He a
flowers.
bad nigga. He a
Yeah.
Kosciuszko nigga.
Shout out to Jay Obama.
You ain't listen to this one.
Shout out to Jay Obama. Jay Obama held us down with the
I would give him
meme.
his
That's
flowers
my guy.
because before memes was a meme, he was making memes.
He
for
was
people.
making
So
them.
he made a meme of when Miz shot at the apartment.
When dude was like, Shorty got a fat ass, and Miz turned around and
It hit 1.1
that shit went to
million.
viral. Yeah.
So everybody's like, yo, what show is it? I'm under the comments like, oh, that's my show.
You
And I'm
disappeared.
like,
Yo, hit us up, nigga.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, back
we
then
been
when you
at,
see a
son.
million views, it's like, whoa. But that was just that clip. But then by episode 7, I think that's when Fab shouted out in a freestyle.
in the
People hit my
freestyle,
phone like, yo,
yeah.
Fab. So that's when I started knowing like, oh, nah, this is really, really taking off.
And you know what I love the most, because I believe that the success of Money and Violence was a collective. And when I say it was a collective, what I mean by that, I think everybody played a part. Everybody that rushed home on a Tuesday night to go watch it, who got their bottle in hand, who got their blunt to sit back. You know, shout out to Fab, shout out to Kiss that put it in these freestyles. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Murda, who was a part of season 2. Shout out to MR.MECC, who was a part of season 2. I think that at a time when the light wasn't really shed on Brooklyn, you know, I think Money and Violence just really brought an energy, you know. But I think what was greatest about the show was I'm not arrogant enough to claim the struggle for us and our own. I always said, this story isn't just a Brooklyn story. It isn't just a Harlem story. It isn't a New York story. This is a worldwide story.
Right.
In every neighborhood where dudes are struggling and trying to get by and trying to get to that next dollar. And I think that that's another reason why the show was embraced so much. You know what I mean? Because like I always say, the stage is big enough for all of us, man. We all share the same story. We're alike in more ways than we're different.
Right.
You know?
That's real
Money
shit.
and Violence birthed a lot of other web series after that.
Mm-hmm.
Project Heat, The Brooklyn Way.
Shout out to the
Respect Life.
guys.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to my dudes.
Right.
And if you want me to be, yo, bro, when I tell you I loved that, and the reason I loved it is I just felt like, yo, we all have a story, right? And before Money and Violence, we all thought that you had to go to film school. You know, you had to be well versed. You had to work by other people's standards, right? In order to do that. And I love the fact that, you know, we kind of gave people the courage to just say, yo, I got a story and I'm gonna pick up a camera and I'm gonna shoot that. You know, so when I saw the Project Heats and when I saw the Respect Life's coming out, like I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, like look at this, bro. Like we let dudes know that it's more than just sports and music. There's another lane for us. Like, get it.
This hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.